How are foreign investors doing in Georgia? This is a question that pops out from time to time, especially after looking at FDI statistics. I decided to ask Fadi Asli, chairman of the International Chamber of Commerce, the largest business association in Georgia uniting foreign businesses, to do SWOT analysis of the business environment from the perspective of FDI. Here's what he has to say. Let's do a brief SWOT analysis of business environment in Georgia currently, and let's start with challenges.
Now that we look backward, we realize that it was an error to go on full lockdown as the government did. And it's fortunate that they realized it and they're not taking us on full lockdown now. Now the issue is that this lockdown has destroyed many businesses. Main challenge is to restart the economy. The main challenge is to support the small and medium enterprises that are the ones who suffer the most. Those small and medium enterprises that rely on the day-to-day work and income, they have been totally destroyed.
Yeah, the big part of the foreign debt that we have accumulated from IFA is also is focusing on small and medium enterprises and supporting them during and after this pandemic. Do you see this money being distributed wisely?
Elena, let me tell you, what we received is $1.5 billion. Which is nothing compared to the cost of closing the country for 6 months. The cost, as we assessed it, till the end of the year is going to be around $6 billion. So what's $1.5 billion compared to the cost? This is one. Two, I don't know, if many people are aware, but every quarter we have to pay back in foreign currency about $1 billion for the external debt that we have contracted, both the government and the private sector, okay? This means that this money that came in would be barely enough to cover 4 months of servicing the debt. The government should have paid $780 per person to be at par with what the United States, PPP, I'm telling you, as the same purchasing power parity. So when you pay $60, it's not even 6% of what other countries have been giving PPP to their citizens. So it's more of a cosmetic psychological donation than a real thing that would really help people out of trouble.
How psychological is that donation? Because we understand that all of this, right? We understand that we have a floating exchange rate, everything. But would you name a lari exchange rate and its depreciation as one of the challenges at this point? And is it because of COVID-19?
Our GDP in 2012 was about $16.5 billion. With all the gymnastics that the government played in 2019, we increased it by 7%. We were 17.7 billion. This means in 8 years we increased our GDP by 7%, which is laughable, which is absolutely nothing. Up to this point, if I'm not mistaken, the government has already subsidized the lari this year for 440 or 480 million. Until the end of the year, it will be like $600 million. When you subsidize your currency, it's not anymore a floating currency. You're indexing it to a certain rate of the dollar artificially. All the forecasts show that by the end of 2020, the GDP would come back to what it was in 2012. The same level. This means 8 years we worked for nothing.
Do you see any strengths?
Yes, the government manipulated people. It was their biggest success, as a matter of fact. They drew people into believing that if they didn't close the borders and destroy their businesses and their livelihood, they would have died. This is the success of the government, to be very transparent and honest. Besides that, what kind of success? We have two business climates. We have one for the companies that are in partnership with the Georgian Dream parliamentarian and ministers and Bidzina's, Ivanishvili's cronies, and we have a business climate for the rest of the people. Now, for those who are in partnership with the Georgian Dream officials, we are back to the 1990s when everyone had a Krisha. But for all the rest and all other investors, it is Golgotha. I mean, every step is pain.
I remember when statistics showed that FDI in Georgia grew by 0.5%. Natia Turnava, the Minister of Economy, said that despite COVID-19, this is the clear sign that FDI is flowing to the country and that foreign investors have higher expectations of the economy in post-COVID period.
Let us dissect the FDI that came in 2020 in the country. 40% of it is reinvestment. This means companies that are working in Georgia already are extending their business. This is 40%. Another 40 or 45% comes from Georgian companies that are registered abroad, in Malta, in the Cayman Islands, in Panama, in Britain, TBC Bank, Bank of Georgia, okay? They repatriate some money here. So this is considered to be foreign investment, which is technically not foreign investment. And then you have 15 to 20%, which is real foreign investment. Now, to get deeper in the picture, if you go to the reinvestment part, on the long term, it's very good for the country, but on the short term, it's terrible. They're not bringing hard currency from abroad. They are sending hard currency from Georgia abroad. If you look at the real foreign investors, like the Turks, some of this foreign investment is not money, it is equipment. Our exports have decreased substantially, but even those exports, not all the money that goes out in merchandise, in goods, is coming back to the country. Part of it comes back to the country to continue the operation, but the major exporters are keeping their money out. This means if you look practically, not on paper, but practically at the balance, we have a huge drain of foreign currency coming out of the country and very little foreign currency coming in the country. And this is one of the, plus the servicing of the foreign debt. And you understand why the lari is devaluating by the day.
Would you name like different business associations of the country, business ombudsman, investors council, all these bodies that need to be working for better business environment? Do you think their input is and effort is seen into the overall business environment picture?
Also here you have two antagonistic currents that relates to the business environment and to the investment climate. So on one hand, you have the government that officially declares that they want foreign investors here. Business organizations that are trying, to improve things, and the government like Invest in Georgia and those whatever bodies under the Ministry of Economy who prepare the studies about how to improve the business climate, okay? And the ambassadors abroad, Georgian ambassadors who are saying, come to Georgia, it's very friendly. Okay, so this is one part. Then you have another part that is prohibiting foreign investments in Georgia. And those are the guys who are under Bidzina Ivanishvili, who take orders from Bidzina Ivanishvili, who are sending out from foreign investors from the borders, returning them when they arrive, or tourists from many nationalities, who are removing their residencies here without any justification on the basis of that they are a security threat, who are defrauding them, ordering the courts to defraud them, who are racketeering them to impose themselves as protection on them.
So these are the specific examples that you have encountered as ICC head?
This is what we see every day. And I sent many letters to the prime ministers in this respect. And not only in the media, you cannot work like this if you want foreign investors. And that's why Georgia lost totally its attractiveness to foreign investors in the past 8 years, especially in the past 4 years.
Listening to Fadi, would you invest in Georgia?
I don't invest my own money in Georgia. Why do you want me to? I cannot encourage anyone to invest in Georgia unless I have personal guarantees from Bidzina Ivanishvili himself that he will not touch foreign investors anymore. I cannot. It is unethical, it is inappropriate, and it's my personal responsibility. And
So-
if I encourage them, I explain to them the reality, exactly what is going on, so they know the full pictures, and then it's their decision.
Are there any opportunities that you see during these hard times, including context of pandemic, all the problems that you have identified as the head of the largest international business community?
Yes, there are. There are many opportunities. There are many Georgians who are looking for foreign partners. There are many assets and many projects that are worth investment. And of course, anyone who has money abroad and who would come to Georgia and who would be convinced by the country can make money, can develop their business, can use it as a base to expand in the region. Georgia has a huge potential.
What needs to be done?
I will tell you, it needs political will.
Thank you.